My sweetheart, seeker of light and power, there is a law working silently, eternally, and unfailingly for you. It is the law of your own spoken word, what you think, what you feel, what you declare. These are the invisible hands shaping the clay of your destiny. In just a few moments of focused thought, you can reverse the tide of years of fear, doubt, and struggle. You can awaken the sleeping giant within, the divine mind that knows no failure, no limitation, no delay. The world rushes by in hours and years, but spirit moves in moments. 4 minutes of pure alignment are more potent than 40 days of worry. The exercise I invite you to try is not a burden of effort, but a door to effortless creation. It is the moment when you remember who you truly are, not a wanderer in confusion, but a creator wrapped in divine authority. When the mind grows weary, when faith trembles, when outer things seem to contradict the heart's desire, that is the perfect time to pause and turn within. For within you is a silent temple, glowing with the golden light of wisdom. In that sacred space, a single word of truth is more powerful than 1,000 shouts of fear. 4 minutes of communion with this truth can melt away lifetimes of resistance. Close your eyes and breathe. Feel that invisible presence that has never left you, the power that breathes through you, that beats your heart, that calls you to rise. Declare within, everything I need is here. Everything I desire is already mine. I am one with infinite supply, health, and joy. Feel these words as living forces, not mere sentences. The spoken word charged with faith becomes a decree, and every decree returns fulfilled. The universe responds not to time but to vibration. 4 minutes of clear, fearless thought align you with the rhythm of divine order. The outer world then rushes to rearrange itself according to your new command. People, places, and opportunities move in unseen harmony to serve your spoken word. For nothing is withheld from the consciousness that knows its unity with the infinite. You are not bound by circumstance. You are bound only by belief. And belief can be renewed in a moment, if you dare to declare the truth instead of the appearance. As you speak these words of power, old patterns dissolve, shadows flee, and doors open where walls once stood. The law of life is exact, and it never fails the one who stands firm in faith. This exercise is a sacred act, a turning of the key in the lock of your own soul. In 4 minutes of awakened thought, you may discover that the whole world bends to meet your renewed vibration. The unseen forces that once seemed against you are revealed as servants of your highest good. For every word you speak in truth sets the universe in motion, and the miracle begins the very instant you believe. The spoken word is the creative force of the universe clothed in sound. Every syllable carries the vibration of thought, emotion, and belief. And as it moves through the unseen substance of life, it begins to shape conditions, people, and events according to its nature. What one declares, consciously or unconsciously, becomes the pattern through which energy flows. The spoken word is not merely air and sound, it is spirit in motion. When a person speaks with conviction, the invisible world responds instantly. Words are seeds, and they fall into the fertile soil of the subconscious mind, where they take root and grow until they manifest in the outer world as experiences. Most people speak carelessly, unaware that every casual statement is a decree that sets unseen forces into motion. They affirm limitation, lack, and fear with their daily conversations, and then wonder why those very things fill their lives. But the law is exact. It gives form to whatever is consistently spoken, whether it be words of truth or of error. The creative power of speech cannot be escaped. It can only be directed. When the soul begins to awaken to this truth, the spoken word becomes a sacred instrument. The voice no longer wanders in complaint or doubt, but becomes a channel of divine authority. To speak rightly is to create rightly. The universe itself was spoken into being through a word, and that same divine current runs through every human soul. When one speaks words of faith, harmony, and abundance, they align themselves with the pattern of perfection already existing in the unseen realm. The words draw the invisible good into visibility. To speak health where there is sickness, prosperity where there is lack, peace where there is confusion. This is to use the divine power of the word consciously. It is not denial of appearances, but a command to the higher law to take precedence over the lower. Every word spoken with feeling and conviction becomes a command to the creative mind. The subconscious accepts it without question and proceeds to reproduce it faithfully. When one says, "I can't," the mind finds every reason to make that statement true. When one says, "I can and I will," the mind begins to open new channels of strength and inspiration. The spoken word builds images in the ether. It forms the mold into which substance flows. The tone, rhythm, and emotion behind a word are just as important as the words themselves. A word spoken with fear is a weak command, but a word spoken with faith carries the authority of divine law. Every affirmation is a seed planted in consciousness. If it is nurtured with belief and watered with gratitude, it must grow. The invisible garden of thought listens to every word. When people say they are unlucky, they are invoking that very condition. When they say they are blessed, the law sets about proving it. Nothing returns void. Everything spoken comes back multiplied. That is why words of anger or self-pity are so destructive. They go forth to build conditions in their own likeness, but words of joy, confidence, and expectancy act as forces of light, dissolving the old patterns of fear and replacing them with harmony. The power of the spoken word is magnified when it is united with imagination. To speak your desire while seeing it fulfilled in your mind is to impress the subconscious deeply. The image and the word together form a perfect mold for manifestation. The mind does not distinguish between the seen and the unseen. It obeys the impression given to it. That is why the ancient teachers emphasize the necessity of speaking only that which one wishes to see made manifest. The word must always agree with the desired condition, not the temporary appearance. If one is ill and declares, "I am strong and whole," the subconscious receives that pattern and begins to restore the body to its true state. Many people reverse their good by speaking words that contradict their faith. They pray for abundance and then talk about their lack. They affirm health and then speak of disease. Each contradictory statement neutralizes the previous one, leaving the mind in confusion. The law cannot work with divided speech. Consistency of word is consistency of creation. The individual who guards their tongue guards their destiny. To watch one's words is to watch over the seed of life itself. Words charged with love heal. Words charged with resentment wound. Words spoken in faith open doors that logic cannot explain. The spoken word not only influences one's own life, but also sends waves through the collective atmosphere. Each declaration contributes to the general vibration of the world. Words of courage, spoken in a time of fear, strengthen others unseen. Words of hatred or despair add weight to the clouds of confusion that hang over humanity. This is why the responsibility of speech is sacred. The voice is not given merely for conversation, but for creation. Every soul has been endowed with this divine gift, the power to name, to decree, to call forth. To speak the language of truth is to speak in harmony with the universe itself. When one understands this, silence becomes just as powerful as speech. For silence charged with faith is a word unspoken yet felt. But when one chooses to speak, the utterance must carry the light of knowing. There must be no idle word, no phrase that contradicts the truth of divine abundance and protection. The law of the spoken word knows no humor, no irony. It only knows command. Therefore, even jesting statements of limitation can take root if repeated with emotion. The wise person measures every word before it leaves their lips, for they know it will return multiplied. Every spiritual teacher throughout the ages has declared this principle in different forms. By your words you are justified, and by your words you are condemned. The creative law does not discriminate, it obeys. The lips are the gateway through which thought becomes flesh. The moment a word is spoken with belief, the pattern is impressed upon the ethers. Whether it manifests quickly or slowly depends upon the clarity and persistence of the speaker's faith. A wavering declaration is like a faint drawing in sand, easily erased by the tide of doubt. But a strong, confident word is etched deeply into the fabric of creation and must come to pass. To master speech is to master fate. The person who controls their words aligns with the order of the cosmos. They no longer talk of obstacles, but of possibilities. No longer speak of defeat, but of dominion. Each statement becomes a step in building the world they desire. The outer life then becomes a mirror of the inner word. Relationships, opportunities, and conditions rearrange themselves to match the vibration of speech. Even the body responds. Cells and organs listen to the tone of the voice. Words of love rejuvenate. Words of worry exhaust. Every command sent forth through the tongue finds its echo in the physical and spiritual realms. Thus, the spoken word stands as the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between thought and thing. It is the instrument through which the creative power of spirit flows into form. Every individual is speaking their world into existence day by day, moment by moment, whether they realize it or not. When they speak consciously, in harmony with divine truth, they become the master rather than the victim of circumstance. To recognize this power is to hold the key to transformation. The word becomes the wand of the magician, the decree of the king, the song of the soul calling forth its own paradise. 4 minutes may seem like a fleeting fragment of time, a mere breath in the vast rhythm of life, yet within those 4 minutes lies the same creative fire that forged the stars. Time bends before consciousness. When the mind becomes utterly still, focused, and aligned with divine intention, every second becomes a seed of infinite possibility. The world believes that change requires years of struggle, endless effort, or grand preparation, but spirit does not move in the measures of clocks and calendars. It moves in revelation, in sudden recognition, in a moment of awakening that transforms everything it touches. 4 minutes of pure, undistracted thought, centered in truth, can remake the pattern of one's destiny. The universe responds not to the length of time you spend thinking, but to the quality of your vibration while thinking. 1,000 scattered hours cannot compare to 4 minutes of illuminated focus. When you gather your attention, when you speak or think with full awareness of your divine authority, the energy that flows through you becomes irresistible. The human mind is often restless, darting between past and future, never dwelling long enough in the sacred present to feel the pulse of creative power. But in the moment of true concentration, when thought and emotion merge into certainty, the soul opens the door to manifestation. 4 minutes of this sacred focus can reverse the accumulated effects of years of fear and limitation. In those minutes, you turn your gaze from the outer world of appearances to the inner world of truth. The outer world may show lack, confusion, or discord, but the inner world holds the blueprint of perfect order. As you center yourself in the awareness that you are one with infinite intelligence, the confusion of the outer dissolves. The law begins to rearrange substance according to your renewed word. This transformation does not depend on time, because the moment consciousness changes, the seed of manifestation is planted. Everything else follows naturally, like dawn following the stillness of night. The reason 4 minutes are enough is that true transformation does not come from repetition alone, but from realization. You may affirm a truth for years, but if your heart is divided, it bears no fruit. Yet a single moment of revelation, a flash of absolute knowing, can bring the harvest instantly. When you feel the truth rather than merely say it, you vibrate in harmony with divine law, and law must respond. In 4 minutes of focused alignment, you are not asking the universe for change, you are allowing it. The power is already there, waiting only for your conscious acceptance. Imagine those 4 minutes as a sacred ritual. You withdraw from the noise of the world and turn within, like a sculptor facing a block of marble. Each thought, each declaration, each breath becomes a chisel stroke, shaping reality. You speak not to impress others, but to impress the subconscious mind, which accepts every word as law. In that quiet span of time, you clear away doubt and speak words of life. I am strong, I am guided. I am one with divine power. As you do, the cells of your body, the currents of your environment, and the invisible forces of opportunity begin to reorganize around your new vibration. The transformation begins within and moves outward, touching every part of your world. These 4 minutes are the meeting point between the human and the divine. They are the space where effort ends and inspiration begins. You do not struggle in these minutes, you surrender to knowing. You no longer try to force results. You recognize that the creative process is already complete in the unseen. The seed of your desire exists in spirit. Your only task is to align with it through focused attention. When your mind becomes still enough to feel that truth, the barriers of time and distance fall away. The thing you have longed for begins to take form because you have finally become its match in vibration. Most people underestimate what can happen in a few concentrated minutes. They live in scattered attention, constantly pulled between worries and desires. They move through life reacting to appearances instead of commanding them. Yet, in those rare moments when one gathers their full energy, when mind, heart, and word are in agreement, the results can seem miraculous. In 4 minutes of steady awareness, you can rewrite the pattern of your health, your relationships, your prosperity. The creative law works instantly when consciousness is single-minded. The delay that people experience is not in the law, but in their divided focus. When you take 4 minutes to center yourself in truth, you are not performing a ritual of time. You are practicing the presence of power. Those minutes are sacred because they bring the wandering mind back home. They remind you that you are not a leaf blown by circumstance, but the wind itself, the directing force behind all appearance. Every breath in those 4 minutes carries the command of faith. Every thought, purified of fear, sends ripples into the ethers, drawing to you the people, ideas, and events that match your new vibration. 4 minutes of stillness, spoken word, and vision have the power to dissolve old limitations that have clung to you for years. Energy condensed through focused thought becomes a magnetic current that reshapes matter. This is why the masters of old withdrew daily into silence, to renew their command over form. They knew that the smallest unit of time, filled with divine awareness, was mightier than years spent in confusion. The creative substance of the universe moves at the speed of recognition, not at the pace of effort. The moment you know a thing is true, it begins to take shape. Use those 4 minutes as the threshold between your old self and your true self. Let every second be a declaration of authority over your world. Feel the change in your breath, in your heartbeat, in the rhythm of your thoughts. Speak your truth, not with haste, but with power. I am the creator of my experience. I am one with infinite wisdom. I am aligned with the highest good. Say it as if the universe itself were listening, because it is. The forces that shape your life are attentive to your vibration, and in those moments of focus, they respond instantly. In 4 minutes of full awareness, you lift yourself out of the fog of human limitation into the clarity of divine vision. You begin to see that every experience is molded from your inner state. You realize that time does not bind the soul, only belief does. The moment belief changes, the outer must change with it. 4 minutes of faith outweigh a lifetime of doubt. 4 minutes of gratitude dissolve the weight of years of worry. The law of life responds to intensity, not duration. Within those brief moments lies the alchemy of transformation. The ordinary mind says it takes months to heal, years to succeed, decades to grow. But the awakened mind knows that divine energy acts outside the measure of time. When you step into alignment, everything necessary for your good rushes to meet you. Circumstances shift, people appear, obstacles fade, and new doors open, not because time has passed, but because consciousness has changed. In 4 minutes of focused, fearless thought, you can ignite that change and set your entire life on a new course. Faith and vibration are the true currencies of creation. for they move the invisible substance of life far more swiftly than labor, time, or effort ever could. Effort belongs to the realm of matter, but faith and vibration belong to the realm of spirit, where all things begin. The one who understands this law ceases to measure success by hours or years, and instead measures it by the depth of their belief and the clarity of their inner state. The world is filled with people striving, struggling, and pushing against conditions, yet the few who truly know the secret of vibration move through life with calm assurance, speaking words of power and resting in the certainty that their unseen faith is already forming the visible result. They do not strain to make things happen. They align themselves with the rhythm of divine law and let things happen through them. Faith is not mere hope or wishful thinking. It is the quiet knowing that the unseen is more real than what appears before the eyes. It is the unshakable conviction that divine order governs all, even when appearances seem contrary. When one holds faith steadily, they radiate a vibration that compels the outer world to rearrange itself in harmony with that belief. The law of vibration is exact. Whatever frequency you send forth in thought and feeling must return in its own likeness. Faith, then, is not passive. It is the active vibration of certainty. It is the atmosphere of knowing that surrounds a person and draws to them all that matches its tone. The one who lives in faith becomes a center of power. Their words carry weight because they are spoken from alignment, not fear. They know that time and struggle are illusions of separation from the source. When faith is pure, there is no impatience, no anxiety, for the soul feels the outcome as already complete in the invisible. To believe with every fiber of being is to emit a vibration that penetrates matter itself. The invisible currents of energy, thought, and opportunity begin to move the instant faith takes hold. The universe, being responsive to vibration, must answer the call of certainty. The power of vibration is the language of creation. Everything in existence vibrates at a particular frequency: thoughts, emotions, objects, even the words we speak. Faith raises the frequency to match the vibration of the desired good. When you believe unwaveringly in health, your vibration aligns with the rhythm of vitality. When you believe in abundance, you harmonize with the vibration of plenty. The law cannot withhold its expression once alignment is achieved. Time may seem to pass before the result is seen, but that delay is only the process of form catching up with vibration. Faith does not hasten or slow the law. It reveals what is already complete. To understand the supremacy of vibration over time and effort, consider how many people labor endlessly and yet achieve little because their inner tone is discordant. They act from fear, from desperation, from the vibration of lack, and their actions multiply confusion instead of harmony. But a person vibrating in faith, even if they take only one inspired step, accomplishes what others could not in years. The difference is not in action, but in energy. When the vibration is right, everything flows. Obstacles dissolve, helpers appear, and circumstances arrange themselves with ease. Faith is the invisible current that carries effort to its perfect conclusion without strain. Faith and vibration are twin forces. Faith determines the vibration, and vibration determines the outcome. Every feeling is a form of vibration. Every sustained vibration becomes a magnetic field. When you feel joy, gratitude, or certainty, you are broadcasting a powerful signal to the universe, declaring what you are ready to receive. When you dwell in fear or doubt, the vibration becomes heavy and chaotic, attracting confusion and delay. The wise person, therefore, tends carefully to the inner tone of their being, knowing that outer effort is useless unless it is in harmony with the inner vibration. Effort without faith is labor without light. It exhausts but does not create. Faith without vibration is mere thought without feeling. The secret lies in the union of the two. Belief that is felt, felt belief that radiates, that is the vibration that moves mountains. It does not need to beg or chase. It simply knows, and by knowing it compels. The moment faith and vibration agree, time becomes irrelevant. The miracle has already happened in the unseen, and the outer world merely unfolds to reveal it. Faith changes vibration instantly. A person may live for years in fear and limitation, yet in one moment of realization, one flash of knowing their oneness with divine power, the entire vibration lifts. The shift is invisible but unmistakable. The body feels lighter, the air clearer, and circumstances begin to shift almost immediately. This is why transformation does not depend on the clock. It depends on vibration, and vibration depends on faith. The one who can hold their faith steady, regardless of appearances, commands the creative forces of the universe as surely as the sun commands the dawn. Faith is the invisible architect behind every visible form. It designs the blueprint in the unseen, and vibration brings that design into motion. The rhythm of your belief sets the tempo of your life. If your faith is faint and faltering, your vibration will stutter and attract inconsistent results. But if your faith is steadfast and serene, your vibration hums like a clear note in a symphony, drawing everything harmonious to itself. The outer world, being a mirror, must reflect that music in tangible form. The body grows strong, the path clears, the supply multiplies. Not because you worked harder, but because you vibrated higher. The vibration of faith transcends time because it exists in the eternal now. When you truly believe, you step out of the waiting pattern of time into the creative pattern of presence. In this state, effort becomes joy, and action becomes inspired. You are no longer pushing against life, but flowing with it. This flow is effortless, yet infinitely productive. The universe does not reward toil, it responds to alignment. That is why a single act of faithful vibration can accomplish more than a lifetime of struggle. To live by faith is to live by vibration, and to live by vibration is to live as creator. Every thought you hold with feeling is a note added to the song of your destiny. Every word you speak from conviction sends out ripples that shape your world. The one who understands this no longer complains or doubts, for they know that their vibration, not their circumstances, writes the story. Time bows to vibration, effort bows to faith. The outer is but the echo of the inner tone. When that tone is clear, unwavering, and filled with divine confidence, the echo returns as harmony in every area of life. Faith is the quiet pulse beneath all creation, the heartbeat of spirit itself moving through form. It does not waver because it knows that all things are already complete in the infinite. To align with that pulse is to vibrate with divine ardor. In that state, nothing is missing, nothing is delayed. You are not waiting for the good to come. You are vibrating in the frequency where it already exists. Every challenge dissolves because its opposite frequency cannot remain in the presence of faith. The law of vibration ensures that like attracts like, and faith is the highest likeness of the divine mind. The power of faith and vibration is not bound by place or condition. It moves through walls, crosses oceans, reaches minds and hearts across distances. It is the invisible bridge that connects all forms of life in the great web of creation. When you send out faith, the universe sends back confirmation. When you radiate certainty, the universe mirrors it in form. The dance of vibration is endless, and faith is the music guiding it. The one who understands this truth no longer counts hours, for they know that in a single instant of perfect faith, eternity unfolds. Inner alignment is the secret language through which the universe listens and responds. It is the silent agreement between the soul and the infinite, where thought, feeling, and intention move together in harmony. When the inner world is divided, the outer world reflects confusion and delay, but when the inner self stands in perfect order, the outer world must obey that rhythm. Divine order is not created by human effort. It already exists as a perfect pattern, waiting only for your vibration to match it. The moment your inner alignment resonates with that divine pattern, opportunity, guidance, and abundance flow toward you as naturally as a river finds its way to the sea. The individual who is aligned within no longer seeks to control outer events through anxiety or force. They understand that every outer condition is but the echo of their inner state. To change the echo, one must first change the voice. Inner alignment means that your thoughts, emotions, and spoken words no longer contradict each other. What you desire, what you believe, and what you declare are unified in a single vibration. When this unity is reached, the universe recognizes it as truth and mirrors it perfectly. People, circumstances, and even chance encounters begin to arrange themselves in precise harmony with your vibration. For divine order never resists alignment. It rushes to meet it. The mind that is aligned is calm and certain. It no longer swings between faith and fear, hope and doubt. It knows that all things work together for good when consciousness is attuned to the higher law. Inner alignment does not mean the absence of motion. It means motion in rhythm with the universal pulse. When you are aligned within, every step becomes guided, every word divinely timed. You no longer need to plan endlessly or worry about outcome. You act when prompted by intuition, and that action carries the full support of invisible forces. The power of alignment lies in this invisible cooperation between your inner certainty and the universal intelligence that governs all creation. Many people labor under the illusion that success depends on outer effort. They chase, struggle, and exhaust themselves, believing that more motion equals more achievement. Yet without alignment, their efforts scatter like seeds thrown to the wind. The aligned individual, however, may take only a few deliberate steps, but each one lands with precision because those steps are supported by divine order. The universe amplifies aligned effort. It multiplies its results because harmony attracts harmony. The law cannot do otherwise. To cultivate inner alignment, one must learn to quiet the conflicting voices of fear and desire. Fear says, "I may lose," while desire says, "I must have," and between them the soul is torn in half. Alignment arises when you release both extremes and rest in knowing, "I already am." This knowing is not arrogance but divine remembrance. It is the awareness that the good you seek is not separate from you. It already exists in the unseen and awaits your acceptance. When the mind accepts this, emotions calm and speech follows truth. You no longer speak of lack or struggle, you speak of divine order unfolding. That speech carries power because it proceeds from inner unity. Every part of life begins to respond to alignment. Health improves because the body no longer receives conflicting commands from the mind. Relationships harmonize because your vibration no longer alternates between need and resistance. Opportunities appear because the mental and emotional doors are open to receive. The universe is always offering guidance, but only an aligned mind can hear it clearly. When thoughts are scattered, the signals of intuition are drowned out by noise, but in the stillness of alignment, intuition becomes a clear voice, leading you step by step toward every right condition. Alignment with divine order is not something to force, it is something to allow. It is the natural state of the soul, obscured only by resistance. Resistance is born from doubt, from the belief that you must control everything by effort. Yet when you release the struggle and return to the awareness of unity, the current of divine intelligence begins to carry you. Life ceases to be a battle and becomes a dance. The same energy that once seemed chaotic now reveals its perfect rhythm, and you find yourself guided without strain. Every delay becomes a divine timing, every obstacle a hidden alignment preparing your path. To align with divine order, one must also align feeling with thought. The mind may say, "I believe," while the heart trembles in fear. Such division weakens the vibration. The creative power of the universe responds not to words alone, but to the feeling behind them. When thought and feeling move together, the spoken word becomes magnetic. It draws the matching experience with precision. Therefore, when you affirm truth, you must feel it as already real. When you declare abundance, you must feel gratitude as if the abundance were already here. This unity of thought and emotion is the essence of alignment. As you practice alignment, you will notice that life becomes effortless. Doors open at the right moment, people arrive with the right answers, and what once seemed impossible begins to unfold naturally. This is not coincidence, it is divine order responding to your inner agreement. You have tuned your vibration to the frequency of success, and the universe, which is law, must echo that tone. The struggle that once seemed necessary falls away, for you have entered the flow of spiritual rhythm. You are no longer forcing the current, you are moving with it. Inner alignment also transforms perception. You begin to see divine order even in seeming disorder. You no longer label experiences as good or bad. You recognize them as perfect adjustments guiding you toward your true path. This shift in perception deepens your faith and strengthens your vibration. Every experience becomes a message, every challenge a lesson in refinement. The aligned mind does not react, it responds with wisdom. It knows that everything is working toward harmony because it is harmony. The universe mirrors back what you are, not what you want, and alignment makes you one with what you desire. As alignment deepens, intuition replaces doubt. You no longer need to seek constant reassurance because you feel the guidance within. The voice of spirit becomes distinct, steady, and kind. It speaks through impulses, synchronicities, and sudden clarity. You realize that divine order is not outside of you. It is the structure of your very being. To align with it is to remember your true identity as a co-creator, not a bystander in your own life. From that realization flows peace, confidence, and purpose. Alignment also refines speech. When you are internally divided, your words lose power, but when you are aligned, every word becomes a decree. You speak less, but with greater effect. The outer world responds swiftly because it recognizes the authority of coherence. Each statement carries the vibration of faith, and that faith is the stamp of divine order. People feel your calm and are drawn to it. Circumstances bend to your intention because the energy behind your words is whole. In moments of alignment, you begin to perceive the unity of all life. You sense that every person, every event, every opportunity is part of the same divine choreography. You no longer feel the need to compete or compare, for you understand that your path unfolds uniquely and perfectly. What is meant for you cannot miss you, and what is not meant for you cannot stay. This realization ends the anxiety of striving and replaces it with trust. Trust is the fragrance of alignment. It carries the assurance that you are exactly where you should be, and that every movement of life is leading you higher. When inner alignment becomes your way of being, divine order ceases to be a concept and becomes your living reality. Every day unfolds with quiet precision, and even the smallest tasks carry meaning. The forces of creation move through you unobstructed, arranging all things for your highest good. You are no longer a fragment searching for wholeness, you are the whole, expressing itself in form. Alignment is not achieved through effort, but through remembrance. Through the simple act of turning inward and feeling the harmony that has been there all along. Every true declaration awakens unseen forces for good, for the spoken word charged with conviction is a living current that stirs the invisible world into motion. Words are not mere sounds. They are containers of spiritual power, clothed in vibration, carrying within them the blueprint of creation. When a person speaks truth, not as wish or hope, but as divine certainty, they call forth energies that lie dormant, waiting for the command of faith. The universe is alive with intelligence, responsive and attentive to the vibration of belief. The moment you declare truth from the heart of knowing, those unseen forces begin to move with precision and purpose, aligning circumstances, people, and events to fulfill the pattern of your word. Every declaration is a decree to the unseen. The world of spirit listens not to the outer noise of doubt, but to the tone of conviction hidden within your words. When that tone is clear, the forces of life rise to obey it. These unseen powers are the subtle currents of divine law, thought forms, magnetic vibrations, angelic intelligences, and the vast network of energy that binds all creation. They are the servants of faith, awaiting the direction of your consciousness. When you declare, "I am guided, I am protected, I am supplied," those forces move like invisible messengers to arrange the outer world in harmony with your decree. They do not question, they execute. Their language is vibration, and your words are their signal. A true declaration is not spoken in desperation. It is born from quiet authority, the calm awareness that spirit is within, and that law obeys the consciousness of truth. Empty repetition carries no power, but one word of realized truth moves mountains. The difference lies in the vibration behind the word. When a person declares from fear, they send forth confusion. When they declare from faith, they send forth order. The unseen realm mirrors the energy, not the vocabulary. Therefore, it is not the length of your affirmation that matters, but the certainty with which it is spoken. A single statement of divine knowing is enough to awaken the entire universe on your behalf. The unseen forces respond instantly to faith-filled words because they are already connected to your consciousness. You are never separate from the power that governs life. It flows through you continuously, awaiting your direction. Most people use this power unconsciously, speaking carelessly, declaring limitation and discord without realizing that each word becomes a seed. These seeds fall into the invisible soil of creation, where they take root and produce after their kind. A person who constantly says, "I can't," builds a world of barriers, while one who declares, "I can and I will," calls forth pathways of possibility. The law is impersonal. It simply reflects the tone of the word that activates it. When a declaration is made in truth, it aligns the speaker with divine order. The unseen forces do not need to be summoned. They are already present, waiting for recognition. The spoken word acts as a key that unlocks their movement. Every vibration of truth sends out ripples that travel through the ether, touching minds, shifting events, and opening unseen doors. The person who understands this no longer doubts whether their words make a difference. They know that every declaration plants a living command in the fabric of creation. Faith is the breath that gives life to that command, and gratitude is the magnet that sustains it. When you speak truthfully from the heart, unseen forces work swiftly and silently. They may move through intuition, leading you to a thought or action that advances your good. They may act through others, inspiring someone miles away to speak or act in your favor. They may rearrange conditions in ways beyond logic, bringing solutions that seem miraculous. This is not magic, it is law. The universe is a responsive field, reflecting consciousness in form. When your consciousness is steady in truth, the invisible field aligns with it, forming new patterns that materialize as answered prayers. A true declaration carries authority because it comes from the awareness of unity with the infinite. It does not plead or beg, it commands with love. It speaks from oneness, not separation. When you say, "I am peace," you are not trying to become peaceful. You are recognizing peace as your essential nature. That recognition vibrates through every layer of being, awakening unseen forces that bring harmony to mind, body, and environment. The law of life responds instantly to identification. You receive not what you wish for, but what you are conscious of being. A declaration, spoken from that consciousness, becomes irresistible. Unseen forces are always working, whether one is aware of them or not. The difference between struggle and flow lies in conscious direction. The person who declares truth daily moves with the current of divine intelligence, while the one who speaks without awareness resists it. Every declaration of truth harmonizes you with that current. It clears mental and emotional clutter, allowing higher inspiration to reach you. This is why inspired words often follow moments of silence. The mind aligns, the heart opens, and the unseen forces move freely through your being. You become a conductor of divine energy, channeling it into form through your spoken word. To declare truth is to remember your dominion over conditions. The outer world is malleable, shaped by inner vibration. When appearances seem dark or chaotic, that is the moment to speak with calm assurance. Only divine order is here. Only good can come from this. Such declarations do not deny reality, they redefine it. They call forth the higher pattern hidden beneath appearances. As you hold to this truth, unseen forces begin to adjust circumstances until the outer matches the inner decree. The key is steadfastness. The law responds to sustained vibration, not to wavering. Each repetition of truth strengthens the signal until it manifests fully. Even nature obeys the vibration of true declaration. Plants, animals, weather, and elements respond to the consciousness of harmony. The energy of your words moves through the subtle field of life, touching every form connected to it. The aligned soul knows that there is no boundary between inner and outer worlds. Both are expressions of the same divine substance. Therefore, every declaration spoken in love becomes a healing force, rippling outward beyond the speaker to bless all within its reach. Words of truth carry light, and light travels infinitely. Unseen forces also act through timing. They orchestrate events in perfect sequence, guiding you through doors that open effortlessly when your declaration aligns with divine order. You may not see the workings at once, but faith holds steady, knowing that the invisible activity is constant. The moment you declare truth, the law begins its motion. Circumstances shift quietly, unseen connections are formed, and what was once delayed begins to move. Patience and faith allows these forces to complete their perfect work. Impatience, born of doubt, disrupts the vibration and delays the manifestation. A true declaration has a magnetic quality. It draws the good it names toward itself. When you affirm peace, you attract calmness. When you affirm success, you attract opportunities that express it. Each word becomes a spiritual magnet pulling form into harmony with its frequency. This is why it is essential to guard speech and to speak only that which uplifts and affirms truth. Idle or negative words send out confused signals that create disordered results. The wise person speaks with purpose, knowing that every word is an act of creation. Faithful declarations awaken the benevolent intelligence that governs all life. Call it divine law, spirit, or universal mind. It is the same unseen force that holds the stars in order and the heart in rhythm. It listens and responds to consciousness expressed through speech. When you declare truth, you attune yourself to that intelligence. You become its instrument. Your words are no longer personal, but divine utterances moving through human form. Each declaration becomes a bridge between heaven and earth, spirit and matter, thought and thing. These unseen forces for good are never far away. They are the living presence that fills every atom of existence, awaiting direction through your awareness. When you speak from alignment, the entire cosmos becomes your ally. The law of attraction, the power of cause and effect, the rhythm of divine timing, all converge to fulfill your decree. Nothing resists a word spoken in truth, for truth is the language of the universe itself. Your declaration is its signal, your faith its permission, your vibration its path. The unseen moves into form the moment the word is spoken in belief, and creation itself bows to the tone of your conviction.